Alright, so let's talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is the latest mainstream Pokemon game, with the previous ones being Pokemon Sword and Shield, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus. This new entry has a large emphasis on open world exploring and being able to carve out your own journey, taking the different main quests on in any order that you want. So, how did it turn out? Is it a bold new step forward or a major failure? Let's get into the overall summary, going over a bit of the story, gameplay, and then my final thoughts, all the pros and cons. I'll be going over into a bunch of the new changes and additions, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions about the game I did not cover, make sure to comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All gameplay is taken from my Scarlet playthrough, which you can watch the whole thing on my Let's Play channel, link in the description. Also, follow my live streams if you want on Twitch. Let's get into it. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was developed by Game Freak and published by the Nintendo company and Nintendo. It was released on November 18th, 2022 and will be available on the Nintendo Switch. I played the Scarlet version. It's going for $59.99 US, and if you are somehow not too familiar with the Pokemon franchise, it's basically an open world JRPG turn-based battler with monster raising. The story begins with your created character recently moving into the region of Paldea. You are enrolled into the Naranja Academy, the oldest school in Paldea. Located in the middle of the region, in the largest town of MabiVsGames is where your Pokemon journey begins. As you take classes and learn more about the world and gameplay mechanics, the annual traditional treasure hunt begins. This is an independent student project where individuals are encouraged to explore the region and get some real hands-on experience. This is where you're introduced to the main quest of the game. Taking these on in any order you want, or just progressing them at the same time, you can. 1. Take on the gym challenges and best the Pokemon League. 2. Defeat Titans and gather rare and powerful herbs. And 3. Squander the plans of Team Star, a villainous group infesting the Paldea region, by infiltrating their bases and defeating their leaders. Moving on to gameplay, you're primarily going to be capturing and raising Pokemon, all while battling them against your enemies to further any of the main quests of your choosing. Let's begin with the Pokemon mechanics themselves. You start with one of 3 starters of fire, water, and grass types. You can capture new Pokemon by weakening them in battle and throwing Pokeballs at them. They're found all over the region, just walking around, flying, and doing their own thing in environments like grasslands, caves, marshlands, lakes, etc. While battling them and other trainers, your Pokemon gain experience and levels, getting stronger in stats, learning new moves, and evolving. For exploration, you're pretty much free to explore any of the areas if you can reach them. Pokemon levels and difficulty overall are pretty static, so if you go too far off without leveling and getting strong, you might have a pretty hard time dealing with things. You can run around on your own 2 feet or ride your new Pokemon friend obtained through the story called Baradon or Koraidon. You get the former by playing the Violet and the other playing the Scarlet version. This Pokemon acts as a story piece as well as your traversal tool. Starting off, they're weak and have lost a lot of power. They can only run and jump, but as you progress in the game, they get new abilities to make travel easier and more areas accessible, for example, swimming and flying. And that's Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's story and gameplay in a nutshell. Go where you want, do any story quest that you want, and basically just carve out your own adventure in any way that you see fit. Alright, so now I'll be going over a lot more in-depth mechanics and changes here, as well as my thoughts on them. First of all, did I like the game? Is it a good Pokemon game? Is it a step up or down from their latest main entry, Sword and Shield? I can honestly say that this is a much better game overall. Sword and Shield was really boring to me, and the pacing was extremely slow. In Scarlet Violet, it surprisingly picks up fast. As soon as you're introduced to some main characters, you're off fighting and capturing even before you're thrown into the main quest lines. Not even kidding, I caught around 60 to 80 Pokemon or so before taking on the first gym. This game has a huge emphasis on choosing your own adventure and tackling main and side quests at your leisure. How well is this implemented, and did it work here in Pokemon? I wasn't really sure how I'd feel about this. At first, I was wondering why they didn't just have level scaling, meaning, let's say after certain story points like gym battles, The rest of the world increases in difficulty to keep up with you. In here, it's simply this region is level 10ish, this other one is static at 25ish, etc. It works well here, and honestly, if scaling did exist, it would take away from the actual spirit and theming of open world. If I think back to other games I've played that attempted this, those were good memories. Finding out which areas are dangerous is fun. Pushing your luck, exploring new areas, coming back to locations that previously wrecked you later. It all culminates to you playing your own game, your own journey, your own stories in any way that you want. Make the game easier by grinding it out if you want. Take on difficult challenges first, etc. It's the freedom to do what you want that really elevates this game for me. I guess a really fun example would be Elden Ring. When that game first launched, it was really interesting hearing my friends and other content creators' experience with the game. Which bosses did they take on first, the secrets they found, etc. Pokemon here is kind of like that. Obviously just on a smaller scale. So yes, the go where you want and non-scaling features work here. They even got around one of my concerns with when Pokemon get too high level, they stop listening to you. In past games, you have to defeat gyms in order to get certain levels to obey you. Here they made it so any Pokemon you raised, no matter what level, will listen. However, if you specifically catch a Pokemon that is a higher level than your gym requirements, then they won't obey you. It makes a lot of sense. I like the character designs and region style. It's heavily influenced by Spanish culture. You can see this in building architectural designs. Characters also sometimes drop Spanish lines here and there. Probably the biggest thing working against this game is the graphics and performance. Now, graphics obviously are not everything, but with this being a pretty much a first-party game, as a long-time Pokemon fan, and I mean playing Red and Blue version on the Game Boy, the Japanese version of Gold and Silver before it was released in America, fans deserve more of an effort here. They shouldn't settle for this. It's almost become a meme at this point, but yeah, it looks like a really old game. Something like the Wii generation graphics. With this being one of the most popular franchises in the world, it's hard to believe that they don't have the know-how or resources to up the graphics here. It's choppy, pop-in textures are abundant, frame drops are consistent in dense areas, and it just looks bad here at first glance. Now, yeah, you can argue that they're trying their hardest developing on the Switch hardware, but compare this to other games that have gigantic open worlds and tons of textures and models and stuff going on. Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and the list goes on. Now, after a while, I did get used to the graphics and settled, but man, if you can only imagine what Pokemon would look like with next-gen graphics rather than it looking like a 3DS game. I did enjoy the main characters' designs though, their styles. They're likable and always a joy when they pop up here and there. Unfortunately, no voice acting in this Pokemon game either. Okay, so more Pokemon gameplay specific stuff. The major gimmick in this title is terrestrializing. After a certain point in the game, you're given the ability to transform your Pokemon mid-battle with a coat of crystals. Depending on their element, it changes up their strengths and weaknesses, so you can have a fire Pokemon who changes into a psychic type, a flying type that gets stronger with fighting moves, and so on. For the most part, any Pokemon that you get can do this, and their Terra element usually buffs their natural element, so a Pikachu would have a Lightning Terra to increase Thunderbolt damage. To get other Terra types for specific Pokemon, you'll have to find glowing Pokemon in the field, which you fight regularly, or in shining caves, which you raid battle. Raid battles return from Sword and Shield. It's a boss monster that you need to defeat either with you solo or 3 NPCs with real friends or strangers online. You all attack at once on a timer to defeat the Terra Raid Pokemon. If you faint, you simply lose time. You can attack straight up, defense moves, and support moves on your allies. Defeating the raid boss allows you the chance for capturing it and get lots of loot like experience capsules. The Terra mechanic honestly to me is just another gimmick that I don't particularly care for. They've just done so many of these types of changes that don't stick to Pokemon future games like Mega Evolutions, Z moves, Dynamaxing. I just don't want to invest too much into this. It's not really needed as Pokemon isn't the hardest game in the world, but yeah, I can see this being a fun variable in late game matches, and I'm sure PvP hardcore players are itching at the chance to find some nice Terra element combinations. I really liked Pokemon Legend Arceus spin-off that was released earlier this year. The fast-paced capturing and changes to combat were fun and really refreshing. I wish that Scarlet and Violet would take more from that game, but they didn't really. Some things that I would have loved to see here are maybe the changes to speed, meaning more speed would allow you for not just acting faster, but maybe even attacking twice before slow opponents. Each move having a quick or strong version that you can use in the middle of the battle. That was an awesome mechanic in Arceus. Pokemon are always just limited to 4 moves, so being able to modify them changes up strategies a bit. Here in Scarlet and Violet, TMs are pretty abundant. You'll find them while exploring constantly. You can delay moves, remember old ones, craft TMs that you found. Defeating Pokemon out in the wild gives you crafting materials. Yeah, this is new. Each TM uses specific Pokemon drops and league points, which are obtained just by playing the game. Another thing I want to mention is auto battling. Now I know, that sounds really crappy and mobile gamey at first, but it's implemented well here. In the field, you can throw out your lead Pokemon to regular battle or auto battle. Doing the auto will defeat the wild Pokemon right away, saving you a lot of time. The result is based on typing and level strength. This is primarily used for material gathering and catching up with levels. If you try to use this method to completely take over regular battling, you'll almost gain no experience when trying to auto battle Pokemon on your level. I remember a time when I absolutely hated the built-in party shirt feature, but now all of these quality of life elements, I appreciate it now. I appreciate it more. It respects your time, allowing you to cut your grinding by a lot and focus more on the fun stuff. Another quick quality of life note, your box, your whatever builds PC, you can do that from anywhere. No matter where you're on the map, you can switch out any Pokemon from your 6 into your box. It's really nice. So yes, there's a lot more stuff I can go on and on about, but for the most part, I think that's all of the major points I wanted to cover with this game. I mean, there's another mechanic called Picnic, which is used for temporary buffs on the field like leveling, encounter chances, shiny finding, etc. But yeah, that's it. Some big improvements for me that would absolutely have elevated this game would be, of course, as mentioned, the graphics upgrade, more mechanics taken from, Arceus. The story is more fast-paced and exciting, but, battles still will drag on way too long too often with the animations and loading. I feel like if they increased the battle speed by 25 to 50%, it would do wonders for the pacing. But the changes they did implement here, I think are all for the better. And that's pretty much it. Do I think this game is worth $59.99? As a Pokemon fan, 100% this is a step up in the right direction. Good game. What if you're not a Pokemon fan, but you want to play something, JRPG-ish? $59.99, you could do worse. I think it's on par with a lot of the popular games these days. And yeah, I think you are going to get your money's worth. This game is going to take dozens and dozens of your time for sure. What about more casual fans who are just looking for any game to play? Maybe wait for a sale. I think if you really wanted to wait for a sale this game, the minimum, maybe $30. But I think for full price, it's good. It is really good. You got multiplayer, you're going to have future DLCs most likely, maybe in-game events, and it is just Pokemon. You want to play it when it's kind of new. You want to share those stories around. Which gym did you go to first? Maybe you didn't even do all that. Maybe you defeated all the Titans first, all that good stuff, the secrets that you find, etc. So yes, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a welcomed, fresh game. I did enjoy it, and I hope you guys check it out yourself. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed, leave a like, it helps a lot. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more videos. As mentioned, if you want to see my full Let's Play, you can catch me on Twitch, and also link in the description to my Let's Play channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.